The ideal female vibe was ladiness, now we got large and in charge. Chapter 1. Strong woman or snob a bitch. The alpha female. You scare men off. You've lost that feminine, loving feeling or never had it in the first place. You're too snotty and judgmental. The alpha female is the girl who is the guy she wants to marry. If you try to be like a man, you're denying your femininity, which means you're lazy, taking the easy way out. I want to be a sex object, but that's not all I want to be. Alpha female trying to look sexy. I didn't get ahead by sleeping with people. Girls, take heart. Barbara Walters. When a chick makes it out there, she's usually frigid. Male chauvinist pig. Liberated women want to be respected as powerful as men are. Being controlling and independent to the point of loss of femininity will not endear any real men, maybe a wimp but not a real guy. There's always something soft, mysterious, feminine, innocent, vulnerable, graceful, and veiled with a good woman that makes her attractive to a guy. But if you don't have this quality because you're an alpha female, what guy wants to bother dating someone who's as callous as his buddies? Too much power over self or out in the world destroys the attractiveness and softness of any woman. It makes her more like a matriarch, mother, drill sergeant, butch femme, stern teacher, or tough disciplinary nun, something men aren't romantically attracted to. Woman's biggest mistake in the work world is that she tries to be like a man in order to succeed, but in general women's strengths are working cooperatively with others in a team effort and being able to handle several concepts at a time in their head, supposedly because they have a thicker corpus callosum than men. So the lesson is be yourself as a woman in a feminine way, use your strengths, and you should be able to succeed in your own way. If the woman acts tough or has to be tough with the kids or at work, that's all the more reason why you should embrace her. She needs a safe haven to escape to, which is in your arms. A man has to feel that he matters to a woman. If she's too aggressive and unfeeling on the outside, the man will turn off. The alpha female is a girl who should have been a man, but because she's a girl, she's looked upon as a bitch because she's pushy, self-centered, aggressive, does what she wants and has little regard for what others think, all typical male macho qualities, but horrible for a woman in the love department because men want softness, tenderness, support, comfort, love, and vulnerability in a woman. A lot of alpha females are fat and ugly. They don't take care of themselves. They don't care about looking pretty and feminine. Physiologically, there is a basis for the masculine female, which could happen if the mother releases a lot of testosterone while she's pregnant, which can have the effect of turning the fetus's naturally female brain more male. If you're an alpha female, chances are you will end up single or with a wimpy guy you can dominate, because most guys won't go for you even if you're dazzlingly pretty, particularly if you're ugly to boot. Most alpha females I've known get guys up until the age of about 35, but they age, look uglier and more worn out, so the domineering ways of their youth don't work with men anymore except for bottoms in S&M play. Most young guys will be attracted to a pushy, aggressive broad, but it's a novelty. They don't love her because all men live on ego, seeing themselves as tough guys, and very few will let a woman control or get the best of them, but a few will if they can get sex out of the deal. Alpha females are self-centered and set in their ways. It ain't gonna happen, honey. You ain't gonna get a nice Prince Charming type of guy, because no guy is gonna let some pushy broad run all over them, no matter how cool, advanced, rich and pretty the chick is. Guys have fragile egos, and most won't bother with an in-control broad because they want softness above all else. Real guys don't give a damn about how independent and successful a girl is. They want softness, support, friendship, good sex, and vulnerability out of their women, that's it. If you're an alpha female, get a good dog or a cat and a big vibrator for a companion, or try very hard to change your ways if you really want a guy, because guys can't stand a masculine girl. Some girls are naturally domineering, trying to take over every situation. It's about the worst thing I can think of that I'd want in a woman. A lot of it is straight insecurity. If an insecure girl or guy can get the jump on everybody else in a situation by acting domineering, it's a good facade to keep people from getting close. A lot of wimpy guys will go for it, but real men will never allow themselves to be kept and controlled by an alpha female. It's fine to let a strong girl be herself, but there's a significant difference between being ladylike and being an alpha female who really doesn't care about being feminine. They just go on being their masculine selves, which turns all men off. Some alpha females put off this outer super sexy vibe, then when they get with a guy, they're too in control of themselves to allow themselves to be romanced. They have to be in control. Several alpha females I've known had a super sexy outer vibe and flaunted it, but when it came down to their true inner selves, you couldn't help but feel total coldness coming from them. One such girl I worked with as a teacher was reasonably attractive, always flirting with that phony smile, but on several occasions, I watched her demonstrate her true self, which was all about ambition, like she wanted to make it so bad that she had to prove something to the world. I felt total coldness coming from her despite that outer appearance of yuppie niceness. Not that she gave a damn about me, but even if she was the richest, most beautiful woman on the planet, I couldn't go out with her because I had the sense that she'd use me to serve her purpose. Then when she got tired of me, she'd throw me away. Many men are like this, but many women are too, so beware when you feel the coldness vibe. Many of the alleged glamour queens are like this, using the external glamour as the cover for their inner coldness, which is why they end up alone, because they're bitches thinking they can control everybody by virtue of their beauty, which always fades, or their money. One time a girl I met through a friend of mine, supposedly as a romantic introduction, started off by demanding that I do things for her like go to the store, buy her cigarettes, take her places, etc. She was pretty, but she wasn't worth it. Guys will do things for ladies of their own free will, but if a bitch demands it, they won't unless they're wimps. A lot of alpha females, angry at men because of their upbringing, choose a wimp for a husband so they can dominate him and have a punching bag to take out all their repressed anger. American bitches. You've come a long way, baby, the wrong way. Preacher commenting on feminism. The woman is always 2 steps ahead of the man anyway. Funky bitch. Smart bitches like me are so smart I got him thinking he controls me while I control him. American bitch. Heaven has no rage like love to hatred turned, nor hell a fury like a woman scorned. W.M. Congrove. If you want to be as free and equal as a man, why not behave like a nice man, not a revolting uppity bitch? I'm putting this article in not to put anyone down, but to hold a mirror up so maybe you can see the real you if you're an American bitch who thinks you're an all that princess queen, fashion glamour diva, and realize that a lot of people see through the phony front and aren't impressed. When you think you look cute, fashionable, sexy, and trendy as defined by a frivolous woman's magazine, then go sashaying around thinking you're superior and everyone is looking at you because they're so impressed by your beauty and sense of style. The regular guy thinks you're a self-centered uppity bitch, which is why down-to-earth girls generally end up getting the guys and being in stable relationships with them, while the glamorous phonies end up with phonies like themselves or no one at all. Because guys can't stand their arrogant I'm all that princess personas. An American bitch is a high-maintenance girl who takes more than she gives. I watched a documentary film about American men going to Russia to look for love, RussianBride.com. The overwhelming consensus was that they wanted traditional wives, traditional as defined by the woman who is the supporter and cheerleader for her husband, doing the domestic chores happily while letting him lead the way. These type of girls don't want to be independent. The one guy said he was tired of the materialistic, jaded, in-your-face callous nature of capitalist pop culture girls. He said he simply wanted a return to an old-fashioned romance, a concept seemingly lost in a modern-day media culture. I saw these American guys put down American girls. It was crushing. They said American chicks are a bunch of selfish, high-maintenance, independent bitches full of themselves, which is why they went to Russia looking for wives, because the women there aren't as spoiled as American women. One guy said they have the pure beautiful simplicity that American bitches don't have because they've been so brainwashed by music videos, stupid magazines, cosmetics commercials, and what passes for the illusion of glamour. He said the beauty of his Russian bride was that she was a little girl and a woman all in one, with an uncomplicated nature to her. This is what we don't have much in America, this simple kind of beauty. We have advanced girls brainwashed by pop culture who are essentially I'm all that, look at me, teen queen self-centered bitches trying to act phony bubbly out of a Tampax ad. The guy said the problem with American women is that most of them are self-centered bitches brainwashed by pop culture, music videos, cosmetics commercials, and frivolous magazines, looking for guys as commodities with their values based on a combination of cash and coolness pop culture style. Regardless of how good the guy they're with is, they're always looking for a better one, which means they're insincere bitches looking for a wallet when they should look at themselves and see what a bunch of self-centered, frivolous airheads they are. A bitch is just someone with a phony exterior trying to act like some glamorous thing she's not. It's partially a fantasy created by the cosmetics and fashion industries to sell product to stupid bitches, but I also think that the quality of bitchiness is a convenient mask for insecurity and fear. If you're feeling scared and insecure, just act like an uppity bitch and you'll get some control of the situation, albeit negative control. There was a show on PBS about socioeconomic class. They showed these girls at a cotillion, which is a social event mostly in the South where young uppity girls come out, so to speak. They are presented to the community as young, single ladies. It's like a beauty contest, but there is no contest, just a bunch of girls dressing up and presenting themselves. When they talked later at the end of it, it was all about them, what they were looking for, not what they might have to offer a guy beyond sex. They thought they were givens as special people that guys wanted to be with, but by the end of it not one had connected in a permanent relationship with any guy because they thought they were trendy, but underneath the glitter, they had nothing, no substance, no real hardcore definite courageous qualities of originality or true warmth beyond the surface fluff. One of the girls carried her $2,000 poodle around in a bag with his head sticking out, using that as her showpiece to help meet guys, but the problem is if you need a crutch like that, it shows you have no identity to stand on your own and rely on yourself to do what comes naturally when you're living an active life happy with yourself and see a real prospect. This is the classic American bitch, all show on the outside, but when you get right down to it, she's never done anything original, tough, risky, nor worthy in her life, a spoiled bitch living in some soap opera fantasy land. Real men are smart enough to see past these bitches to look for a more real human being. They might play American bitches for sex, but as far as love goes, forget it. Pop culture has brainwashed a lot of weak women to act like a combination of some soap opera preppy diva and some vamp in a music video, which is not real. It's not the real world that most men live in, except for fruity fashion designers, which is another totally manufactured, useless so-called field or industry. There are nice unpretentious girls out there, but the second I see someone being fashionable and trendy just to be fashionable and trendy is the second I say to myself, watch out for a self-centered bitch. If she's young and naive, some allowance can be made for her inexperience about life, but anyone over 30 still with that vain, frivolous exterior doesn't have any true warmth, nor can they be real. Stay away from them. Every mature person over 30 should know that everyone else has felt the entire range of human emotions you have, that you know what pain and loneliness are, that you know everyone else, despite the airs they put on or the money they have, lives the exact same range of emotions as you, so there's no sense trying to act cool and not yourself, because you just give yourself away as a phony. Yet why do so many people still insist on trying to act like they come from some special elite crowd where their poop smells like perfume? Women's power over men, most of whom will grovel for even bad sex. He has dreamed of years of wild passion and pleasurable company, what he gets is a lifetime of mood swings and an infrequent and indifferent lay. Internet quote. I waited for all my friends to get married so I could see what happened. All these guys are paying through the nose, and their hairs turned gray from stress. First the blowjobs disappeared, then sex altogether. And all their wives do is complain, I want a bigger house, a nicer car. These guys are miserable. All I hear from them is, you're lucky you're single. Internet quote. Only woman can break the vicious cycle of manipulation and exploitation of man, but she will not do it. There is absolutely no compelling reason why she should. It is useless to appeal to her feelings, for she is callous and knows no pity. And so the world will go on, sinking deeper and deeper into this morass of inanity called femininity. And man, the wonderful dreamer, will never waken from his dream. Esther Villar, The Manipulated Man. In the book The Manipulated Man, Esther Villar, an Argentinian psychologist, observed that women have conditioned men to a lifetime of subservience either for the chance of sex with a stranger or casual friend, or the wife controlling the husband to do her bidding in exchange for her opening her legs up to him. Is it really this bad? I don't know for sure, but I do know that pretty women can get men to buy them all kinds of stuff and do other favors for them merely by smiling and flirting. Wives routinely withhold sex all the time, either as payback for perceived transgressions or as their currency to get something like buy me a car and I'll have sex with you until I need something else. The conclusion is that in many marriages, the relationship is really prostitution. Even though it's subtle, there is no real love between husband and wife. It's more like I give you sex if you give me the material things I want. Women trade sex for food, shelter, and money. Some women treasure men as partners in life, not meal tickets, but many want to be taken care of by some guy even if they don't love him. Regardless of whether you're an idealistic romantic or a woman-hating cynic, you have to be always thinking of a woman's true motives when you meet a new one that you might get involved with. Does your girlfriend want to live a life without work or responsibility? Is she with you because she loves you or because you buy her a lot of stuff and give her money? If you go on a sugar daddy website, you know to expect a relationship based on what are buying for me today if you want sex. Before you marry, make sure she has a warm heart and she's not some cold bitch who will bail as soon as you get into financial difficulty. If you meet a woman and she immediately wants to know how much money you have, she probably doesn't love you. If your wife tries to attack your ego in order to get you to earn more money, leave the bitch. In her dreams, she wants the rich handsome prince who will carry her off to his castle, but it doesn't happen except on TV because the real world is average guys working hard for average amounts of money. Females prefer to mate with high status, dominant males with money. A drink whore is a girl at a bar who wants you to buy a drink for her with no expectations on your part for sex because she just wants the free drink. Be equal and nice, but don't accept manipulation and bullshit. There's an ebook called Sexploitation. If you can find it, it's wild. The guy did quite a job trashing women. The evil seductress info/femme fatale. The term seductress sounds cool, but it generally has a negative connotation because seductresses try to manipulate men to do their bidding using sex and suggestions of a sex, sensuality, escapade. A femme fatale is a seductive woman who uses men to serve her own ends. There are lots of movies about women who manipulate men into committing crimes for them, like that 1940s one with Barbara Stanwyck using a guy to kill for her. I think it was called Double Indemnity. Conventional wisdom says be a seductress to your man in the bedroom, but if you're a seductress in real life, manipulating men usually for money, nobody likes you. A whore or sex worker is straight up sex for money. A seductress is the girl who will start a relationship with a guy in order to marry him or be his mistress to get at his money. Delilah of Samson and Delilah and Anthony and Cleopatra are examples of cunning, conniving but feminine women who seduce a guy to control him without him even realizing he's being a willing participant because he's so enchanted by her that he will do anything to please her. Some seductresses are women on an ego trip. They wanna feel they're sexual bombshells and great romantic lovers who can sweep anyone off their feet, control them without the victim knowing they're being exploited, and reassure themselves that they're great powerful charmers and/or seductresses. Cleopatra manipulated men by offering sex then acting cold until the guy did what she wanted, whereupon she would warm up again until she needed something, then she would go cold until the guy did her bidding. The media tries to portray difficult women as femme fatale, usually bitter and angry people who get their just punishment at the end. The classic archetype of the bitch is the manipulator, the temptress, the seductress who uses her sexual charms to get what she wants from men. In a sense, this is the only power many women have over men, their sexual charms. Proverbs 7:26 says many are the victims she, the adulteress, has brought down, her slain are a mighty throng. The solution to dealing with seductresses is do not let your heart turn to her ways or stray into her paths, Proverbs 7:25. Men want a lady and a seductress all at the same time, but women want to be treated like a lady, princess, queen in a glorious fairy tale all the time. Chapter 2. Bitch. The ambitious career woman looking for love. If you're ambitious, and especially if you're a woman, guys won't be attracted to you because you come off like a cold bitch. That's the way I see very ambitious women. To me, there is something wrong with them to be so ambitious. They're cut off from their true natures. There is no sincere feminine softness. I see it all the time. Some girl has a couple of college degrees, is a so-called professional, has stylish clothes, hair color, and thinks she's a great catch because of all this, but she doesn't realize guys don't care about that stuff. They want a soft friend. If some girl has got a big motor mouth with that know-it-all, control freak mentality, there is no way in hell I would go out with her. A lot of women in the so-called professional occupations are like this. Guys do not fantasize about women like that for sex or love. Men have egos. They want to feel needed. They want to feel they can help their girl, but if you got some I am all that bitch thinking she is high and mighty, forget it. A problem with many women is that the way they see themselves is not the vibe they give to the world. Most women think they're warm-hearted, pretty, sensitive, empathetic, advanced, loving and warm, but they come off like trendy bitches full of themselves. Do men love bitches or doormats? Somebody I saw on a talk show wrote a book that was titled something like Why Men Love Bitches, which is a lie. Her point was that men like girls that aren't easy, that are challenging, that are enticing and give the guy something to strive for. What a crock of crap. As if men don't get enough stress in life and are looking for a challenging bitch to give their lives more excitement. Am I masochist and a sucker? What man is? Men are generally uncomplicated when it comes to love. They don't want what is poetically known as a challenge, they want a soft friend. So if you come on too strong with that goddess bitch, self-centered, alpha female, don't impress me much, phony, manufactured pop star Shania vibe, men won't go for it, despite what this self-proclaimed bitch said on TV about how much more respected she was because she didn't bow down to men. I'm sure she didn't bow down to men because there were none within 10 feet of her ever in her bedroom. You can be masculine/assertive without being a bitch as long as you're feminine to go along with it. I'll add warm-hearted while I'm at it. Being feminine doesn't mean you're a passive doormat. It means you're a nice, pleasant lady who would rather try for a nice, easygoing situation than screw it all up by demanding your rights and being a feminist bitch. Simply respect your partner and try to be good to him until and unless he crosses the line into disrespecting or abusing you, then you don't have to take it. It's your choice, be a bitch alone in your ivory tower or ease up and try to have some easygoing fun with people. Or, you can be like some bitches and give off a super sexy vibe to pick up men but find that it's only sex they give you. They can't seem to get past the outer shell of you to penetrate into your soul, nor do they want to. You can't blame men for going after any woman who offers them sex, but you can examine yourself and ask, why are you offering perfect strangers sex? Is it an ego thing for you as an alpha bitch, another tool of conquest? Are you trying to fill up an inner hole of emptiness for being such a lonely bitch, or are you genuinely looking for love? Plenty of masculine, bitchy, liberated women claim to be looking for love but fail horribly. I say it's because of that outer masculine, bitchy vibe where you think you're cool, successful, wear trendy clothes, drive a cool car, talk with big words and so-called sophistication, but all these things together give off an empty, outer covering, fake, show-off type of vibe. There's no inner warmth. How much simpler can I say it? Men aren't stupid. If they see any type of pretense as innocuous as colored hair, trendy clothes, a fake upper-class style of talking as opposed to everyday slang, etc., all these things make the girl seem colder to them. To men, or at least to me, It's about natural beauty and wholesome looks, but it's also about the vibe of inner warmth. If I sense the girl doesn't have it, no amount of other things will make me feel attracted to her, not her looks, her money, her professional position, intelligent conversation, etc. This is why all these so-called, liberated, independent, successful chicks over 30 years old with a professional job somewhere can't find a lover, as opposed to a transient pickup which virtually any girl can find. They come off like cold bitches whether they realize it or not. There was one girl with a doctorate in clinical psychology who went around counseling couples in marital therapy, yet she had been divorced 3 times before she was 39. It was her vibe, and I'm so smart, successful, trendy, and masculine vibe. A few stupid guys married her, but they eventually saw that she just didn't have that quality of inner warmth inside of her. If you act sexy, men will approach you, but after that, if they don't see warmth, they'll scram. A man doesn't fall in love with a body. He will have sex with it, but needs a warm soul there as well in order to fall in love. You can use your body to attract men, but it's not enough, especially if you got that bitch vibe to go with it. I should know because I had contact with hundreds of girls when working in bars as a young man. The sincerely nice girls who have a soft feminine quality about them end up getting married even if they don't look like hot stuff. It's a kind of nurturing quality. Looks count for initial attraction, but 10 minutes after you meet, you pretty well know if she's a nice person or a snotty bitch. Guys are pigs who live in the same gutter I do. If they think there is a possibility of sex, they will play along and hang on. If they think it could be love, they don't even care about sex. Whenever I met a pretty girl that was a nice person, I wanted to feel some of that love and have it rub off on me. It's just rare to find a pretty girl who is truly ladylike in spirit as opposed to projecting a fake image. I never pushed for sex with anyone. When I met a nice girl, I let the relationship go on platonically, then later I realized I was a hedonist, so I stopped pursuing monogamous relationships altogether because I had to be true to who I am and not lead anyone on. Some men are bastards, but many guys over 30 years old are good guys looking for someone nice like their mother was, but then they see some professional broad acting all liberated and trendy and move on until they meet a nice girl with a simpler countenance and they're very happy with her. It's the lie and the counterintuitive message the media and corporate advertising give off. They tell you it's cool to act pompous, liberated, trendy, independent, sexy and arrogant because they want you to buy all their crap to create your so-called image, but what they don't tell you is that mature men see all this stuff as crap that takes away from the beautiful soul a nice woman should have. So you got all these over 30-year-old brainwashed women thinking they're successful and cool but come off like phony bitches. Do you want to be respected or loved? Most women want both. The hardest is love. If a guy loves you, he will respect you, not the other way around. A guy can respect you but still not love you, and that makes you no different than his male buddies. Strong independent woman looking for a man. You are what you are by nature. If you can't find a good man being yourself, go on living your life true to yourself. This is much better than putting on fake feminine airs to try to attract a guy. I saw a video where a pretty famous sex expert who has been on TV a number of times was advising a woman to tone it down, be needier, make the guy feel need like he's a stud. He said be less intimidating to men. Find your inner femininity. Let the guy take control. Weak guys will go for a forceful bitch because they find a mother to take care of them. The truth is, try to be a solidly good person, releasing whatever goodness there is inside of your soul. That's it. Finding a mate is secondary. Be true to your soul. Be a good person. It's not really about finding a soulmate. Most people never do, even though virtually all married people try to pretend they're with their soulmate. Don't try so hard. Especially do not try to be something you are not. My attitude is be true to myself. Everything else is secondary, even romance and love, because I'm horny and fantasize about hundreds of sexy naked women all the time. Use your vibrator. Get your sexual energy out. If a good guy comes along, great, but don't feel lonely and depressed if he doesn't. Be more feminine. 1. You have masculine energy and feminine energy. Use both, but if you want love, you had better be more feminine than masculine. It's that simple. A lot of women are self-centered to the extent that they can't get outside of their own heads to see themselves as others see them. They assume that people see them as the beautiful, funny, glorious, fascinating individuals they see themselves as, but this is their big mistake. They're generally way more colder and bitchy than they think they are. The reason I know this is because I've met dozens of girls like this both in my former job as a waiter and in college as a teacher. They think they're hot stuff that all men are lusting for. Along with this, they think they're beautiful, warm, advanced, lovable creatures, but outer beauty and trendiness without sincere inner warmth equals nothing. It's meaningless and it's easy to pick out. Vain people have this "I'm all that" superiority attitude that's so obvious. They're always primping themselves, playing with their hair, checking themselves out in anything that functions as a mirror. It's alright to think highly of yourself. The undesirable, antisocial part of it comes in when you flaunt it and want people to see you and think you're cool and special. Vanity doesn't pay in the long run because everybody hates vain people. You can't hide it if you've got it. It comes out in an arrogant, bitchy, "I'm superior" attitude. Vanity is simply an excessive preoccupation with the way you look and appear to others. It's your so-called image out in the world. Truly enlightened people don't have images because they don't particularly care about looking cool and trendy to others. They live out who they are in their souls and don't care about putting on airs with trendy clothes, excessive makeup, etc. They're happy as is without needing to impress others in order to get compliments. An enlightened person is concerned with doing something inspired with their lives. A vain person is concerned with how cool and trendy they think they look to others. There's a universe of difference between these two types of people. Look at any prima donna. She's walking around in her own little bubble of self-worship until she wakes up someday and sees herself getting older and uglier and or alone without any close friends because she's such a bitch. Real, masculine men are givers in the traditional sense of the word. They want to take care of the wife and family and want her to appreciate them. Even if you're an assertive female with a good job, if you can't give a man his sense that he's a manly man with you, forget it, it won't work. Smart feminine women know that the way to please a man is to make him feel like a man by acting like a gracious lady around him. If you're too cool to be this traditional and corny, get a vibrator or a girlfriend. Don't waste your time on men cause they ain't interested in your alpha female, bitchy aura. You can be giving of your own free will with love without being a doormat as long as your guy appreciates it. If he doesn't and you keep doing it, then you're a doormat. The greatest power you have in any situation and relationship is to leave. If you're with a crummy guy, you don't have to stay, but many girls do because they like being provided for, so you have no one to blame but yourself. Every girl in America is free to walk away from a negative relationship, yet many stay and bear the brunt of a lot of abuse. It's partially your fault if you stay and keep enabling the guy to have his way with you. The base is to love yourself and learn about life enough to stand on your own before you let a man come in and share it with you or try to control you, as is the case much of the time, even if only subtly so. Don't let toxic men keep you down and control you. If you live in a spirit of love, compassion, and forgiveness to forgive those who've wronged you in the name of love, you will be a lot happier than trying to match the illusory standards set forth by the media and being angry at men for imposing their standards on you. Be more feminine too. If you're a masculine bitch or a feminine doormat, if you want love, simply move towards the middle to have a healthy mix of both, but don't be phony about it. If you don't have a natural intuitive warmth about yourself, you can culture it by striving for born-again innocence, to be kinder and gentler as a human being, and don't be too materialistic or trendy. Be more real and down to earth. The easiest way is to get a furry pet or a couple of them. Practice being loving towards them. It will help make you a less pretentious, warmer person. There is a woman going around with a workshop offering to make masculine, liberated working women more feminine. Some of the tips she offers are as follows. If you want love, be lovable. Is the person you're interested in really worth it to you? Be feminine. Dress nice but not like a vamp. Don't talk much about business or work to men you're romantically interested in. Smile at men. Flirt with them. Act ladylike but not snotty. Act down to earth and real. Don't try to be perfect. Be human. There's a fine balance between high fashion and nice, a kind of look where you care about your looks but it's not vain or excessive. You're real as opposed to a painted doll. Do casual, real-life things as opposed to snotty, high society things where everybody is acting fake. Go to places where decent men would go, like a gym, golf course, bowling alley, race car track, business course, tavern, church choir, computer club, dog park, etc. If you meet guys you don't feel a warm vibe with, don't play them. You're wasting time. Move on to other guys. If you meet a guy you can talk to without being fake and feel like you'd want to commit to him, by all means pursue it but not desperately. If he meets you halfway, great. If not, you're setting yourself up for failure. If you can't feel a man committing to you spiritually with his soul, it means he doesn't really love you, so don't set yourself up unless you're a masochist who enjoys the pain of lukewarm relationships. The way you can tell if a man loves you is if he is kind to you, spends money on you, doesn't do inconsiderate things to you and wants to see you happy even if it means hardship or inconvenience for him. If a guy is less than honorable or playing you somehow, it means he doesn't really love you. Get a clue, get out. If a guy really loves you, he won't purposely try to disrespect you, like cheat on you or even flirt with others. Be yourself. If you find yourself changing your essential personality to try to appear more presentable to him, this is not healthy. He either loves you for you or not at all, because people generally do not change the true essence that they are. If you're looking for love, develop a friendship first. Don't have sex unless you feel he's seriously interested in you for marriage. This way you eliminate all the frogs who want you for sex but not love. A nice, feminine girl gets the love and commitment she wants without demanding it or even asking for it. She is simply so nice and loving that the guy is willing to do it of his own free will. Men generally don't like to be probed and asked personal questions. If it's really important, he'll tell you about it. Men generally don't like girls who talk too much about anything. Do romantic things together. Make small talk every day. Men have a territory of control. They generally don't want you butting in, attempting to solve their problems or take over. Share and discuss your lives but give him his space. No man is perfect. Overlook some of his innocuous defects. Give a little bit. Have patience. Minimize conflicts by saying it's not worth it to fight about it every time he brings something up. Tell him he wins and that's it. Get real. Real life is not a soap opera, sitcom, frivolous woman's magazine nor a romance novel. If you're one of those people who fear love and commitment, perhaps you're better off without a relationship even though you think you want one. Bad Girls Info. It's not about liking someone. It's about who has got the most to give you. A girl is a bad girl if she is more selfish than loving but tries to pretend she's cute, cool and warm-hearted. You should be able to tell by watching a girl for a few weeks and going out on a weekend date like a camping trip with a long hike. By Sunday afternoon, you'll know her true colors. Men generally like bad girls because of the possibility of casual sex, but they don't respect them. They won't take them home to meet mama, but they'll do anything they can to convince these bad girls that they love them long enough to get sex from them. In fact, somebody said bad girls do all that bad stuff to try to get attention and find love. Personally, I don't like bad girls because they're just like bad boys, vain, self-centered, and psychopathic with the ability to think of no one but themselves. I've known girls who were thieves and drug addicts. I'm not interested in self-destructive girls. I don't need the headache. They're not worth it. You can't save anyone from themselves. They're damaged goods or excess baggage because of all that unresolved psychobabble baggage inside of them. Who needs it? They're needy. They'll drain you for the simple fact that they have no ability to empathize with the demands they're making on you, since it's all about them. You're just the servant or the enabler. You're the sucker if you fall for it. If somebody's being a bad girl, she could just be a selfish twit like any bad boy, but if she's being sleazy and slutty, there's an underlying reason. It's usually a lack of love and a desire to be loved. The other type of bad girl is the insecure one, always trying to put others down because she wants to feel like the prettiest, most special one in the room. She's the bitch. If you get involved with a bad girl, you're asking for trouble. Leopards don't change their spots. You are what you are. The greatest revenge on bad girls is aging. They get older and find themselves alone, so they drink more and take more pills until they're ugly and fat, then they kill themselves. That's why I laugh at all those young girls who think they're hot and bad by flaunting themselves like shameless hussies. They'll be a reject of the in crowd soon enough due to aging, then they'll drink more and take more pills, which will further destroy their looks, then suddenly they'll realize they were stupid. All their efforts in trying to be bad stuff yielded them nothing. Be good enough to either strive to take care of yourself or find a worthy husband. Don't mess around trying to imitate those stupid images you see in music videos. They're all fake or just plain silly. No self-respecting guy is gonna go for someone like that. That's the lie of op culture marketing they don't tell you about. How do I know this? I ran a rooming house once. There were some hard luck drunks in there who I could tell were pretty once, but in the real world the past doesn't matter. I don't care about some old broad showing me pictures of when she was young and pretty. All I care about is right now, today. Man haters. Intercourse in reality is a use and an abuse simultaneously, the act parlayed into the illuminated heights of religious duty and the dark recesses of morbid and dirty brutality. She, a human being, is supposed to have a privacy that is absolute, except that she, a woman, has a hole between her legs that men can, must, do enter. This hole, her hole, is synonymous with entry. Andrea Dworkin, intercourse. The man takes a body that is not his, claims it, sows his so-called seed, reaps a harvest, he colonizes a female body, robs it of its natural resources, controls it. Andrea Dworkin. A man wants what a woman has, sex. He can steal it, rape, persuade her to give it away, seduction, rent it, prostitution, lease it over the long term, marriage in the United States, or own it outright, marriage in most societies. Andrea Dworkin, in MS, December, 1976. If you're a ball breaker who wants to castrate all men, you're considered a feminazi. Men will see it, feel it, and won't go out with you. The first time I read a truly man-hating bitch piece was the book Intercourse by Andrea Dworkin, where I could see the hate women have about living in a man's world being subservient to them. She says sexual intercourse is defined and controlled by the patriarchy and enslaves women. The man possesses the woman, inhabits her, covers her, in the standard missionary position, overwhelms her, then once it's over, he gets off and discards her until next time, having gotten what he wants out of the deal, most of the time not bothering to satisfy her sexual needs. The first chapter of the book is called Repulsion, about women's general distaste for men's crude bodies as opposed to the soft sensuous skin of women's bodies, stating that men are basically strangers when it comes to understanding the true nature of women's sensibilities. According to her, women are basically sex objects to most men at their core, which has some truth to it since we're raised that way by the culture and are primally sexual at our cores. It's a good book if you want to see a thorough historical analysis of how women were exploited by men throughout history, but I believe she goes too far, and instead of spending her life bitching about men, she should focus on developing her own life and enjoying it. To me, anyone who spews off vehemently about anyone else for too long has something wrong with them, as I believe much of the feminist movement does. Because they're generally not the beautiful girls that fit the cultural ideal, they get their frustrations out by rejecting all of it. In the world of bitches and mooks, once you play a man and flirt with him about possibly giving him sex, it doesn't really give you more power as you might think. It lowers your value to him to the status of sex object, someone to be possessed and overpowered in the act of sex. If you want respect, act like all men do out in the world of work and business. They're unemotional functional beings focusing on the task at hand, not playing a flirty game with other men. So don't send men mixed messages about how you want respect while you're toying with him to see if you can wrap him around your little finger with your sexual prowess. Bitch websites. Real-bitch.net, seductioninsider.com/women/y_men_love_bitches, ehow.com, how to criticize a diva down to earth, succubitchinstilettos.blogspot.com, thatbitch.com, bitchphd.blogspot.com, twocrazybitches.com, americanwomensuck.com, angryblackbitch.blogspot.com, antisocial-bitch.com, bitchalert.org, bitchblog.com, bitchclub.amsgray.com, bitchgoddess.com, bitchmagazine.com, bitchmackiemeasandwich.com, bitch-n-moan.deerisland.com, bitchphd.blogspot.com, bitchslap.com, bitchware.net, bitchx.com, chatroom, bitchx.org, occasionalbitch.com, okcupid.com/tests, the bitch test. Chapter 3. Sexy bitch thinks she's hot stuff but got a cold heart. I'm all that sexy bitch one. There are several TV shows trying to showcase these dragged out older girls who are supposedly the cake of the walk with their hair color, makeup, material, pop culture minds and their delusions about how cool, special and independent they are, when anyone that knows anything knows that guys aren't interested in 35-year-old has-beens thinking they're hot stuff with way too much attitude for their real status in the pecking order, because guys are interested in young girls and if they're any good, they know they can get 'em regardless of how old they are. The other big lie is that it's TV, a manufactured, phony product geared to give over 32-year-old women confidence and sell them product through advertising, but in reality, most older women past 30 are insecure and scared as hell that their younger years of youthful beauty has passed them by, and they're sulking about it, worried if they'll ever find a decent man. Oh sure, you can get all the takers you want for casual sex, but as far as love goes, you're used goods. You're not as shiny as a new, young girl of 22, nor are you as fresh in thought and spirit. You're cynical, depressed, lonely and vain, even though you'll never admit it except for those few honest girls out there. So I'm tired of all those promotions I see for the reruns of the TV series trying to portray these girls as so cool and sexy, because I know in the real world, those girls would be perceived as trivial, neurotic, over-the-hill pop culture clones that no real man would be seriously interested in. Why would you be if you knew you can attract a 25-year-old? They aren't even pretty. The only one that's reasonably attractive is the Canadian actress, but that hair coloring job makes her look like just another lost, fake airhead. She's getting chubby too, not exactly sex symbol material in the real world. It's just like all soap operas, which are exploitive cheap crap which brainwash women into being dipsy frivolous airheads hooked on their looks and vanity at the exclusion of everything else like character and heart, although they all claim to be spiritual, high-quality people. The book itself, Sex and the City by Candace Bushnell, twbookmark.com, is classified nonfiction. Even if it is only nonfiction in her dreams, it's still a pretty good read, because she tries to capture the essence of all these characters she supposedly came across in New York without all the pretense of the TV show. It reads like a typical girly gossip piece geared for girls, with all the seemingly trivial and lurid details all women like about looks, style, and the interplay of people between one another. She did a good job of exposing the superficial status obsession that keeps most of us prisoners of our culture, especially women, with their obsession on youth, beauty, and fashion, which equates to the age of uninnocence where love takes a backseat. She profiled some interesting stereotypes like the serial dater, toxic bachelors, modelizers, bicycle boys, Psycho Moms, Tales of the Pretty, Perennial Bachelors, Bone, Male Model, Party Girl, etc. The epilogue is really funny, made me almost think the book was based on real people and their real lives. I watched a documentary TV series which followed several New York women around who called themselves barracudas to document their alleged love lives. It reminded me of F. Scott Fitzgerald's novel The Great Gatsby, a bunch of empty-headed people running around, thinking they were cool, advanced, part of some illusory in-crowd acting all dipsy, deep and special when you knew they were as phony as a $3 bill, incapable of loving anyone but themselves. There's another documentary kicking around called The Hamptons, which profiles this coastal town in New York where rich people buy houses and spend part of their summers there, mixing it up with the more down-to-earth residents. It was probably made to peek into the special lives of the wealthy, but when you peel it all away, at the end of the summer, when they were interviewing them all, what you saw was a bunch of ordinary people living ordinary lives despite what material things surround them. Money by itself can't make you transcendent nor live a high quality of life, because life is something you have to create every single day by intense, inspired effort in something that turns your crank. This is my measuring stick as to what constitutes a worthy person I'd be interested in being friends with, not some dud who thinks she's all that just because she drives a Jag and has cute clothes. It was like one guy they interviewed said, they will go out with you but all the while they will be looking around for a bigger fish, somebody who looks cooler, has more money, more status, etc. And as soon as they find him, they will dump you. This is the way love works for the illusory preppy yuppie crowd of NYC. They will go to parties at Martha's Vineyard or the Hamptons in the summer, looking for rich guys who own a mansion, fashionably sipping on wine coolers, but in the end, to me, they were a bunch of self-centered frivolous narcissists trying to act cool, but you couldn't help but sense the overwhelming vibes of insincerity they gave off. They all think they're way cool, judge each other fiercely in the silent competition of beauty, status, and wealth of the boyfriend, and generally end up alone as they age, desperate for a marriage or married to dudes they don't really love but who have enough money to sustain them for a while until they get tired of it. There was a girl who drove a red convertible Mercedes and had a vanity license plate with the word goddess on it. She thought she was so cool, but a guy sees this and sees the problem with brainwashed American girls in general. It's like that song, "What Have You Done For Me Lately?" The thing that struck me was how special and advanced they all thought they were when underneath their fashionable clothes, they were all just plain Jane generic people without any true tested character in life, no great achievements nor any strong inspiration for a worthy soulful pursuit, yet they thought that all guys were lusting over them. I walked into a room somewhere for a meeting, and of the 30 or so 30ish and older so-called successful girls in there, every last one of them had blondish colored hair. Why are you trying to act cool by doing something so obviously corny like color your hair? Why can't you just be yourself in spirit and look? I'm all that sexy bitch too. Feminism and the pop culture media have destroyed a lot of the romantic relationships many women want, because young women these days are conditioned by both the media and the sexual revolution of feminism to think sex is all good, open, all over the place, lesbianism is good, and that if you dress sleazy and sexy, you will get sexual attention from guys. But even though this is supposed to be what's cool based on the image our corporate beauty/glamour industry and manufactured pop stars put forth, they neglect to mention many young girls don't want to be like this, and for discreet self-respecting people, it's not cool. Classy girls would rather be more cultured and reserved and save some of their sexuality, not go off half-cocked at 13 answering to the call of peer pressure and the media that wants them to buy all the latest products that are supposedly cool and trendy so that they think they will fit into the illusory in crowd on TV, but what they will really be is brainwashed clones, not strong enough to follow their true souls as individuals. Many young girls do all manner of sexually promiscuous things not because they're free and liberated by nature, but because they've been brainwashed to think that's what a cool, young girl supposedly does. She's a sexually liberated vamp who enjoys sex without much emotional attachment. Just look at some frivolous teen and women's magazines, watch some music videos, some hair coloring commercials, and some of latest TV drama shows about single or divorced women, and you'll know why so many girls get brainwashed to try to be something they're really not. Even though guys like vampy women to have sex with, they want pure innocent cultured ladylike types for marriage material. If you're one of those floozies who think you're all advanced smoking your cigarettes, acting sleazy with your colored hair, the latest fashions and caked on makeup, chances are you won't find an honorable guy to love you. He might screw you and use you for sex, but he won't love you because that's the message you're putting out, a disposable sex object, cool about casual sex because you're out there being funky, looking for a good time. A lot of girls these days have gotten the message from pop culture to be sexually free, liberated, assertive and chase men, which is all fine and good for non-committal hedonists, but the mainstream society has disdain for hedonists in general. They don't like people who flaunt their sexuality in public. It's fine to be a hedonist discreetly, but if you walk around dressed like a music video hoe, you can't expect people to be positive towards you because it's frivolous, vain, and invading on their space. If you're playing the role of pop culture queen wannabe sultry slut, it turns people off because they don't want to see it out in the general public. Dress like that at the bar or at a party, but don't dress like a slut then go parading through the mall. It's just not cool. The truth is that most girls, even the slutty, fun girls, want a serious relationship. Through this seemingly sexually liberated veneer, they want an alpha male to take care of them and love them, but if you look like a sleazy slut in public to attract men, all you will attract is the lower tier guys who openly live in the gutter. By the time most girls hit 35, they're not that pretty anymore, so they can't get quality guys based on sex alone, as they're relegated to the dump heap of humanity, while a younger generation of babes feels the need for sex objects, testing out their emerging sexuality as a source of power on guys, but it's all temporary. It's like that old stripper I saw at a strip bar. She might have been beautiful once, but now she was a haggard, dragged out looking thing, smoking her cigarettes, sounding uneducated when she talked, so I figured she had a dim forecast of her future, about 37 years old, working as a stripper at that dive, her days numbered with no prospect of what to do once the owner said she was too old and ugly to work there anymore. Sexuality by itself as your identity as a sexy babe won't give you the power or love you really want. I'm a guy, I can live with sex without love, but I know that most girls are wired differently. Even the most cynical whore streetwalker still hopes for some alpha male to rescue her, sweep her off her feet and whisk her away, but alpha males ain't stupid. If they plan to commit to some girl for life, they want what the Bible calls a virtuous woman. A virtuous wife is precious, Proverbs 31:10, a quality lady of substance, not some sleazy bitch who thinks she's all that, using her sexuality as a tool of power. I see a lot of this pseudo-sexually liberated attitude in a lot of dumb kids who got nothing going for themselves in their lives, so they will try to get attention by acting sleazy and outrageous, and, of course, this is all reinforced by the pop culture media, which makes it seem cool to be sleazy, so you got all these people trying to act sexually liberated when deep inside, you know it's not cool to be that lewd and graphic in public, but a lot of people do it anyway. There is a double standard out there. Guys can go out, pursue recreational sex and be looked upon as the studs a male buck is supposed to be, but girls are held to a different standard. A virtuous woman shows discretion and restraint in public. She's the one who will marry the honorable guy, while the sexually assertive girl can get all the guys she wants, both rich and poor alike, who will want to have sex with her, but they generally won't love her because they know who she is, and no guy wants to be in a serious relationship with a girl who has the reputation of a slut, because it shows you're a poor hunter, a wimpy male with used goods, plus the fact that you can't trust her to be faithful to you. As I say elsewhere, sexual liberation and sleaze are not the same things, yet a lot of girls get mixed messages from the media and think it is. Sleaze is inappropriate and makes people feel uncomfortable, which is why truly enlightened sexually liberated people are discreet about their sex lives. You can find consenting partners without looking like a whore. Just be a pleasant person around pleasant vital people, then do what comes naturally in a healthy, wholesome way, or go to the swinging scene and casual sex websites if that's what you want. But if you dress the part and act all in your face skanky out in public, the world will give you what you give it, a bunch of guys leering at you, treating you like a sex object babe who wants hard sex, then wants to be left alone to her vampy self with her cigarettes, lipstick, some rap videos about big bootied hoes and a mirror to admire yourself. I'm all that sexy bitch 3. No self-respecting man will be with a bitch. If she thinks she's real hot stuff, she's a bitch. The common guru. Guys, don't come on to feminist, smart ass bitches. Nobody wants to be with a bitch, even a beautiful bitch. I am a woman in the prime of life, with certain powers, and those powers severely limited by authorities whose faces I rarely see. Adrian Rich. People call me a bitch whenever I express sentiments that differentiate me from a servant or a slut. Liberated girl. I'm tired of trying to be something I'm not in this white, male, corporate, golfin', dull world. Self-proclaimed funky bitch snapping her fingers, eating a bag o' chips. The bitch phenomena has much of its roots in lesbian, feminist circles, although there's another subgroup of bitches as covered in the American Bitches section, who are girls who think they're more beautiful, higher, and mightier than everyone else. Women are forever taught to be perfect, happy, cheery housewives and capable workers, never revealing sadness or worry, just perkiness and beauty all the time, which dooms many to stressed out lives and anger against men, which could make them be perceived as bitches. Women are trained to be pleasers, which causes frustration and unresolved anger, so you have to back off from the pleasing stereotype, let off some steam on your own, and be a bit more self-centered and less apologetic for your own sanity. Live a balance of loving yourself and loving others. Some feminists say there's a strong backlash against their feminist movement, which is trying to scare women away from independence and career by stating only 20% of single career women over 30 ever get married, and other scary statistics like that, because deep down, women were raised on love and family and seem to want this, or at least be defined by this more than anything else. It doesn't matter how successful you are out there, if you don't have kids and a husband, you're not considered happy or successful. Throughout history, women were relegated to second-class citizen status, property of men, and considered on the same level as animals in some cultures. Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Margaret Sanger, Helen Gully Brown, Germaine Greer, The Female Eunuch, 1970, Gloria Steinem, Betty Friedan, The Feminine Mystique, 1963, and others helped women get out of the role of just housewives and helped them claim their sexuality for themselves, not just as receptacles for men. I'm all that sexy bitch 4. Feminine women hate feminist bitches and vice versa. Once a woman is helped to see that her perceptions are valid and that it is all right to want to blame and feel like a victim, she can begin moving into the rage stage. The first myth is that the white male system is the only thing that exists. The second myth is that the white male system is innately superior. The third myth is that the white male system knows and understands everything. The fourth myth is that it is possible to be totally logical, rational, and objective. Ann Wilson Schaaf, Women's Reality, an Emerging Female System in a White Male Society. The United Nations published the Declaration of Women's Rights in 1967, giving women equal rights with men in all sectors of life, and opened the floodgates for women to take on jobs in all parts of the workforce. World War II really started it when women took traditional men's jobs because the men were fighting the war. In today's world, women have achieved some parity with men, but they're still generally paid only 75% what a man makes for the exact same job. Even though sexism is now hidden because it's illegal in the workplace, there is still a subtle old boys network, and men in general simply don't listen to women and discount them as pretty things with nothing to contribute to the business at hand. A lot of men are male chauvinist pigs simply by ignoring women, putting them in their place with silence, not giving them tough work assignments, promotions, etc., nor paying them the same as they pay the men for identical jobs. The result is a lot of angry women mad because they can't be who they really are, because the structure of society stops them in many situations. There are a lot of good men out there, but men have egos and on some level, don't like to be ordered around by women, and especially don't like loud-mouthed arrogant babes who think they're all that and bend over backwards to assert their rights. Men prefer nice, quiet girls over loud ones, it's that simple. There's a dual way women are portrayed in society. On the one hand, sensual, fun, warm, soft, gentle, and loving. On the other, controlling, grasping, selfish, conniving, manipulative and neurotic. Who's to say who's right? People are an individualistic mishmash of emotions. You just can't judge and generalize based on some sweeping statements. I would say bury all those stereotypes you ever had. Deep down, pretty well most of us want to love and be loved, so approach all people as individuals with an open mind. Sexually, women are either nice girls or sluts, virginal in quality, loose and easy, motherly, or sexual. Christianity raises women to be pure, and all of past history including Freud viewed women as inferior to men. It's a tough legacy to kill. Women are still overwhelmingly viewed as mothers whose place is in the home to raise children and be subservient to the man, but many feminists counter this viewpoint with extreme aggression, perhaps the first in the modern era being Ashley Montagu, who wrote The Natural Superiority of Women in 1953, where she said that women have superior brains than men. There's a lot of psychobabble out there about men being envious of a woman's ability to bear children. I believe that men and women are different but equal, each with their own strengths and abilities as a gender and as individuals. Women are the stable base of most societies. No matter how you cut it, they do most of the work in the home and keep the family stable, while men simply supply the bread. Women are supposed to be non-sexual in public, then the media blasts cosmetics and fashion commercials all over the place, so it leaves them confused as to what a lady should be. Many go off the deep end and equate sexy dress with a cool image, but it doesn't really work this way. On the other hand, if a girl is too vanilla, she's considered a plain Jane. Every man is turned on by slutty-looking girls, but when he looks for a wife, he wants somebody pure and virginal, or at least nice with some restrained standards about her. In my opinion, you should be yourself. Whenever I see too much makeup on a girl and high fashions, I get the impression that she's acting phony, trying to be something she's not. We're all just people underneath the glitter, so go easy on the glitter because it's not real. On a hidden level, there is a subtle battle of the sexes out there. Many men with their big, macho egos subconsciously discount women's feelings, and in the business world, they don't take them seriously. On the other side of the coin, many women deny their femininity and secretly hate men because they were repressed and their choices limited as children because they were female. Their fathers may have hurt their mothers, abused them, abandoned them, got divorced or something like that. Then as they started dating, they hooked up with loser jerk boyfriends. If you search your soul honestly and find any of these negative emotions hidden away, work on them to release them. Women are not one-dimensional creatures who want niceness in every situation. Although this is true to a limited extent, there's a much deeper thought seething beneath the surface. With one sweep of a brush, I could discount them all, saying that they're a bunch of scorned, angry bitches, but the purpose of this article is to seek out insight into what's real. We have to look at society as a whole and the history of the world from the past to the present. It's always been about men. Even the Bible is all about men. When women are mentioned, they're either mothers, wives, baby makers, or scorned bitches, temptresses like the archetypal Delilah who loved Samson, wanted him badly but he couldn't commit to her, so she seduced the secret of his strength out of him, which was his long hair, then betrayed him because this was her twisted way of keeping him, and then it all came crashing down at the end for her when Samson toppled the pillars of the temple. Jezebel was a Phoenician princess who married the Jewish king, and because she was so domineering and self-minded, they ostracized her and eventually killed her. Today she'd be looked upon as a feminist, back then she was labeled a bitch for posterity's sake. Although the message is kind of convoluted depending on which interpretation you accept, it generally puts out a negative image of the temptress who will always destroy herself in the end, while from another point of view, Delilah was an advanced, free, liberated babe who simply had the guts to go for what she believed in. Even though it destroyed her in this case, she still did it her way, which is unacceptable in a man's society. Women are torn down from all corners right from the very start. In school, they're taught to be nice and demure, while men are taught to be brave, strong, and gutsy. Then they're brainwashed into playing dumb because it's unladylike to be assertive nor to show intelligence nor to show up the guys. Then the media is all about beauty and thinness. A woman is defined almost solely by her beauty with very little consideration for what's on the inside. Men are allowed to be single and go out and explore the world while women are supposed to go out and desperately seek a man and get married to him. A woman's destiny in our society is pretty well defined by her man. If a woman stays single past 35, she's generally looked upon as either miserable and / or weird. The marriage thing is a real dichotomy. Women are told to seek men out, fall in love then commit to them, but when they don't get equitable feedback, they go to pieces and sometimes lash out. Women try so hard to love their men, but men don't try hard enough to love them back, so many women become very angry, but since they've been taught all their lives to be ladylike, they don't express it verbally, they take it out via passive-aggressive means by being trivial little tits with their husbands, like conveniently forgetting to pick him up, serving cold meals, leaving the laundry undone or whatever. Many women are caught in the eternal bind. They don't have the guts to go out on their own, so they stay in loveless marriages seething beneath the surface. They become martyrs, internalizing it all until they either destroy themselves or explode. It's your own fault if you stay in a loveless marriage, but on the other hand, if you go out and make it in some high-level job, you're looked upon as cold and unfeminine and guys stay away en masse. If the housewife's anger gets the best of her and she ends up letting it all out, the guy just labels her a bitch and gets rid of her. The woman tries too hard, doesn't get the love she craves, so she falls to pieces while the guy keeps going to work as though nothing has happened. And in the bedroom, the woman's supposed to be passive, let the guy get his jollies and that's it, but women are just as horny as men based on everything I've seen from women and about them. Despite the outward appearance of bland niceness, many women seem to be living morbid, tortured lives on the inside. Many are depressed, but the uncoolest thing in the world is to admit to it, so they live with all this pent-up rage and frustration on the inside. Depression is merely anger turned inward. You're taking it out on yourself. My conclusion as to the why of this state of affairs is the powerlessness that women feel in society, further compounded by their need to define themselves by a man. Their choices are generally either to marry a generic guy who won't love them as much as they want to be loved, or stay single and be looked upon as weird, self-centered bitches. They all want the fairy tale version of love, but very few will get it because there are very few Prince Charmings out there, simply because they don't have the time to be Prince Charmings. They have to work for a living. The curse of beauty as the definition of a woman is also a killer. With the endless stream of TV commercials and women's magazines, many women feel an invisible pressure to play the silent game of beauty competition and try to make themselves up with cosmetics and clothes, which is set up to never work to please a woman because they're never satisfied. It's a part of the carnal delusion that we live in. We always want more, but we never get filled up, plus the fact that every woman loses her youthful beauty by 35. She can still look alright, but will never be the dazzling belle at the prom anymore. Even the so-called X-rated world where women say they're liberated and expressing themselves is really a cheap ploy to cover the reality of it, selling the beauty of your body to a bunch of leering men, begging for them to shove money into your garter belt. I'm all that sexy bitch 5. When the looks start to go after 35, all women get depressed to some extent. It could be argued that there's a silent conspiracy to keep women in their place, in the home or in a menial, support job out of the power positions. There's a double standard in the sexual realm, with men seemingly allowed to cheat and mess around, but if a woman does it, she's perceived as a home wrecker and / or a bitch. It's a fact, women do not have the same choices as men as to how to live their lives. Combine this with the fact that women are emotional and intelligent by nature, so they overanalyze everything, then keep it all in, and you end up with a bunch of unhappy women with painted-on smiles walking around, which men quickly dismiss as either scorned bitches or the PMS syndrome, on the rag as they say. Men have a convenient way of dismissing difficult women as bitches. A difficult woman is someone who believes in herself and believes in going after what she feels entitled to, which is what men do all the time, but women aren't allowed to do this without being perceived as bitches. The media tries to portray difficult women as femme fatale, usually bitter and angry people who get their just punishment at the end. The classic archetype of the bitch is the manipulator, the temptress, the seductress who uses her sexual charms to get what she wants from men. In a sense, this is the only power many women have over men, their sexual charms. Beyond the anger issue implicit within women in general, I've found that women are no different than men on the morality scale. Some are nice but some are evil, taking out their anger through such things as conniving to get their way, gold digging, teasers, being snobs, drama queens, black widows, vicious gossipers, and the list goes on. Many women are brought up in Cinderella-type delusions and selfishly want it all. They expect to get it all without regard for who they have to hurt in the process. I believe most women are decent people who are misunderstood just like men, but there are truly evil bitches out there just as there are truly evil men, so don't take it all so hard. Life's a bitch, lighten up. If you want to do something, do it. Forget about stereotypes and all the assholes in the world trying to bring you down, even if it's your husband. If he's a bum, get rid of him. There are true cold bitches out there and everybody hates them. Somebody once defined a bitch/battle axe as a furious, frustrated, finicky, futile, frenzied girl mad because she's really a man trapped in a woman's body living in a man's world, tired that she has to keep up with this beauty competition with all the other chicks around, especially now that she's getting older. A lot of girls are quiet bitches, bitchy inside with that phony easygoing smile, keeping it all in until they get home when they scream and eat junk food to try to make it all better. I don't judge bitches, just stay away from them. I live by vibes. I can usually penetrate past the glittery exterior to feel the vibe of a cold bitch. I look into faces to see the permanent imprint from how you live your life. Despite the bleach blonde hair and the fake tits, I often see frustration, misery, sadness, and anger, not happy people enjoying their lives. There are plenty around trying to act like cool, enlightened people. The defining statements are ambition and anger at the world because life is not the way they want it to be. Bitches are alpha females with attitude, thinking they're all that, go girl, got it going on, so they expect diva service when out in public, and when they don't get it, they act all bitchy and vain. In the end, many women are torn between being nice and being themselves, which is often much more assertive, and because many keep it in, they get bitter, angry, and depressed. Women just want some control over their own lives rather than following the script of being defined by a man. They want to be loved and accepted for who they are, but can't seem to get it much from men or society at large, so they become bitter and angry. Then society just dismisses them as scorned bitches. The men must realize that all women fantasize about the Cinderella story, and you have to nourish this love all the time. That's the only feasible solution. In my opinion, this rift won't end anytime soon. Men have the power and they want nothing more from women but to use them as maids and sex kittens. That's the reality of it. If you want liberation, don't take it. If people don't like you because you're assertive, don't bother with them or move on. There are no simple answers. You have to find the balance between being yourself assertively and being nice. Personally, I don't like assertive, independent women who think they're all that and seem to think they're higher and mightier than most men, but at the same time, I don't like frivolous, materialistic flakes. I like nice girls being themselves. If they have a skill or a good job, that's fine as long as they don't flaunt it as if they were all that. It's a combination of niceness, softness, and femininity. Just as nobody likes a chauvinistic bastard, nobody likes a scorned bitch. The 3 greatest acts of revenge I've seen by a scorned bitch are: cutting the penis off, melting several candles, then pouring the hot wax onto the penis of a sleeping guy. A girl who used superglue on her husband's cock, sticking it to his leg while he slept. He had to go to the hospital to get it cut loose. A bitch slap is a situation where a bitch gets the better of some guy somehow. She bitch slapped him means she got him good, sucked him in. You might find books about femme fatale biographies at #920.72 at the library. Try the book Eternally Bad, Goddesses with Attitude by Trina Robbins, Conary Press.